Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Life is a time pass, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, पता नहीं, जो थारी राय सो मारी राय, nothing to do, nowhere to go, देखो सुनो मत बोलो, wherever, whenever, whatever you are, be 100% कर्नाटक, किसी को आओ मत कहो, किसी को जाओ मत कहो, ना कुछ पाना ना कुछ खोना. Who asked you live at zero complaint level? मौज में रहो, be happy. मौज में रहो, be happy. Ting 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 ting. So we are in this most holiest of the holy places in India. We are a little bit far away, but some of you must be having good view from your room. Arunachala is right in front of your, in the whole, covering the whole window. एकदम मजा आ गया. Raman Maharishi, when he was only 14 years old, he was sitting in his upstairs room. You must have known the story, but I'll just repeat because we are here. And he was looking outside the window like we all kids used to do. And he saw a Ram Naam Satya Hai, one dead body being carried away by 4 people, and they are going to the cremation ground. And he saw it is a dead body. And immediately in that young mind, in that young inquisitive mind, an urge came, what does it mean to be dead? What does it mean to be dead? And he immediately came down, lied down on his bed and started playing dead. And in that attempt of playing that game of being dead, he had an out-of-body experience. And when he experienced himself, right, my body is lying there and I am not in the body, then where am I? Then who am I? Then what am I? This question consumed him. Many of you must have also experienced that sometime in your life. I don't know, you answer yourself. If you say, I did, others will start grilling you. It's a personal thing. And many people, I have come across many people who have had an out-of-body experience. But they had that experience, they went towards alcoholism, drugs, smoking, etc. But some rare few, they chose to go in the direction of self-inquiry. Usually in the teenage years, this crossroad comes in everyone's life. And majority of the kids lose the plot of life because they don't understand, nobody is there to guide them, nobody is there to hold their hand, they don't know where to go because the education system doesn't cater to this side of the life. And if some of you have experienced and moved in the right direction, it is Bhagwan's grace that, or some of us were, what I should say, spiritual in the other sense, and somewhere the penny dropped and we learned, hey, this is not the way. This is not the way. There must be another way. How come I am addicted to this spirit? When I am the spirit, how can I be addicted to spirit? And then the journey changes, and you can all look back into your life and say, see, what was that event, what was that experience, what was that happening which turned you towards the spirituality, or brought the teacher into your life, or brought God into your life, or you became interested in learning more what our scriptures say, etc., etc. Kahin na kahin, somewhere in our life, something has triggered it. To Raman Maharishi, it happened in this manner. There's another belief we all live with, and that is, we have to study scriptures to know the truth. How many of you agree or disagree? Agree? Nobody agrees. If you agree, put your hands up. If you don't agree, put your hands up. 50-50. Okay. Raman Maharishi did not study any scriptures. He only studied scriptures after coming to know himself. Nisargadatta Maharaj did not study any scriptures. One satsang he attended in Ramakrishna Mission in Mumbai somewhere. And after hearing the teacher, you are that Tattvamasi, he said, what do you mean by Tattvamasi? What are you getting out of telling me that I am that infinite? He says, world will be better if one person is not creating mischief. He went 2 years later, he got realized. See? And how many years we have been studying scriptures? How many years we have been listening to satsang? And what has changed? Don't answer. Only look inside, within. Why is it taking so long? Raman Maharishi was discovered 18 years later. But for how long he was sitting there in that blissful state, we don't know, isn't it? How long will it take us? जब सारे उपनिषद खत्म कर देंगे, जब सब भगवत गीता खत्म कर देंगे, जब ज्ञानेश्वरी एंड अमृतानुभव खत्म कर देंगे, or the scriptures must finish us. But here we are sitting, one retreat, ये भी खत्म कर दी retreat. अच्छा, I have visited all the retreats. कहाँ पे, wherever Swamiji is taking in India, I am taking it off. I travel, ticket, अच्छा, ये हो गया. Next time I am not going to go this one. I am going to go to Bhimpura. Bhimpura I have not done. So what is our motivation? Is it going and seeing a new place, or is it that we become empty? Jnaneshwar Maharaj, you have heard of Jnaneshwar Maharaj now, all of you? Jnaneshwar Maharaj were 4 brothers and sisters, Nivrittinath, Jnandev Maharaj, Sopandev and Muktabai. Sangdev Maharaj was also at the same time, he was a 1400-year-old man. So yogi, 1400-year-old. He has done Kaya Kalp 14 times. And when he heard that there is a young, wonderful saint who is talking on Jnaneshwari all over Maharashtra, he didn't know what to do. Should I say my pranam at your feet? He thought, I am 1400 years old. He is only 12, 13 years old. How can I say pranam at your feet? But then they say he is a very great jnani. He was unable to, so in that confused mind, he sent a blank piece of paper to Jnaneshwar Maharaj. Because he didn't know. After 1400 years of sadhana and well versed in 64 vidyas, he didn't know what to write. Imagine, what a tragedy. But, and then when the letter came, the Muktabai said, Dada, Hathar Korai means he is blank, in a sarcastic way. Jnaneshwar Maharaj turned it around. Because he is blank, he is available. Because he is empty, therefore he is available. Our problem is, whenever we go to satsang, we are full. We have compared, we have studied this, we have studied that, if Swamiji is saying this particular example, we know what is going to come after that. So we are already ready to laugh. Because we know the punchline. Jokes we have heard hundreds of the times, isn't it? So now watch. So you are already expecting it is going to go in that direction. So you are not available. Your mind is already busy. What is required? We have to be empty. So how do we become empty? How do we become empty? When do we become empty? Huh? She said we become empty when we are nobody. Are you nobody right now? This is your sister? Nobody gone. Somebody came. See, we know the answers. We all know the answers. But we are unable to be that at any given moment. So how do we be nobody? When are we empty in our life? Tell me. You have all experienced it. When we sleep. Okay. When else? Surrender is again a word. The one who has surrendered doesn't say I'm surrendering. Hi?
When we listen to silence.
When we sit in silence, we are empty. Good. When we are asleep, we are empty. When we are a nobody, we are empty. When we sit in silence, we are empty. When else? When we are in coma, we are empty. Huh? Now come more subjective. Watch right now.
When we are in present.
When we are in present, we are empty. Yes. One more. Between the two thoughts, we are empty. Correct? Between the two breaths, we are empty. Wherever there is sandhi point within us, there we are empty. You have to just, so you are already experiencing in short doses, you are experiencing the emptiness. You have to expand it. Then now, question comes, how do we do it? How do we expand this emptiness? How do we expand this silence? Will it get expanded by doing something? Can you stop not doing something? We are geared so in such a way that something we have to do all the time, or we think we have to do, but it's happening, isn't it? Eyes are blinking, suddenly without any conscious decision, the hand goes and does that, or the leg will unlock and relock. Something will keep happening. Or no need, but I'm speaking and you are nodding. No requirement, but it's happening. So activity is continuing. So something is always happening. Then when something is always happening, how do we bring about this expansion of silence. Bolo, I am asking. You have listened to Swamiji many years. बताओ अभी सब निचोड़ निकालो. मैं निचोड़ निकालने के लिए बैठा हूँ यहाँ पे. Tell. ये बड़े बड़े शब्द छोड़ो, प्रैक्टिकल बताओ. She is saying by remaining in being. Idea is good, but if you are in being, you will not say this. You will just be.
By realizing that it is happening by itself.
Say that again.
Say suppose when I'm nodding, I realize that it is not me who is nodding, it is just happening. If I have that thought somewhere, maybe it will help.
So if your thought is about nodding, that I am not nodding, it will create more thoughts.
तो नामस्मरण के बीच का जो अवधि है उसको बढ़ाते रहने से.
So can you increase silence? Is silence something to be pulled from two ends and बंद कर लो phone? Can you pull the silence and expand it? I ask the question. You have to ask yourself. क्या you should say, स्वामी जी क्या बेवकूफ वाली बातें कर रहे हो? You can't expand silence. Then how does silence expand by itself? What is the condition that is required to be created so that the silence expands?
दो विचारों के बीच का अंतराल.
हाँ हाँ ठीक है, it's between the two thoughts, but then how do you expand the silence between two thoughts?
Listen to the silence.
हाँ?
Listen to the silence.
Can you think of silence?
Listen to the silence.
Is silence an object to be perceived?
Being okay with silence and not silence.
Sakshiva.
Okay, just be yourself.
हाँ. By ignoring the thoughts, by अच्छा है, good brainstorming going on. हाँ बोलिए.
Drop identification with the body.
You cannot drop identification with the body. I am sorry. You cannot drop it. It happens.
Not considering it to be real. Identification.
Yes, by not considering it to be real. Have you been successful in that attempt till today? You know the answer. Swamiji also says it. But have we been able to drop the body consciously till today? Or only unconsciously it gets dropped and we fall into sleep? Have we been able to drop it consciously? फिर हमको तो consciously करना है ना.
अपने श्वासोच्छ्वास की तरफ देखते हैं.
वो भी कर सकते हो. You can focus on the breath, she is saying.
When we don't talk to ourselves.
When we don't talk to,
Ourselves.
can the mind ever stop talking? Is that your experience?
Sometimes it happens.
Sometimes we want a elongated conscious period of silence. That is what we are attempting. That is what our end goal is. So what is our experience? Have we till today been able to stop the chattering of our mind? Willfully. Have you been able to do it? I am asking. तो फिर कुछ भी नहीं कर पा रहे तो अब करेंगे क्या? स्वामी जी डिनर के लिए चलते हैं. देखो, these are the ये प्रश्न इस तरीके से आप one will question will lead to the other and then you see are you abiding in that silence or not. अगर अब if my mind is addicted to thoughts, it wants to think, my body is addicted or is programmed to do something or the other, then what is the quality of action that I can do which will bring about a condition which is conducive for the silence to pervade. ठीक है ना? Every night, now I'll give you an example. Every night you think of sleep. Do you think or not? Evening comes, You know the sleep is coming, then you start thinking, यार अब बहुत हो गया, 10 बज गए, 10:30 बज गए, it's 11:30, 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm tired, it was a big day, we got up at 4 o'clock, didn't even get afternoon break, now I have to sleep. And you are thinking of sleep, and all the actions that are taking place at the body level and at the thought level are only prompting you to move towards sleep, isn't it? Is that your experience every day? And eventually everything drops away from the mind automatically. You don't drop it. Everything drops away from the mind. Only the last thought is I am sleeping, and the sleep, you dive into it or it absorbs you. It consumes you and you go into deep sleep till you wake up. ठीक है ना? Can this be brought about consciously? Can we do some activity like you were doing activity to go to sleep? Action तो करना ही है ना? तो can we do some activity which will help us to remain conscious and yet the mind is silent? यही हमको चाहिए ना. This is what we want. So can we do it?
Yes.
What can we do?
We can watch our thoughts.
You can watch our thoughts.
And then don't act upon them.
You cannot. Good, that is. But there is one error. Thought is good, but mistake we make is the thoughts happen so fast that we हाँ बोलो.
As we get the thought, as Swamiji said, go back from where the thoughts started.
Then it is good. Now we are coming to that point. Yes,
Who you are.
fantastic. So who is the thinker of the thought?
Yes.
Go back to the. पहले बोलना था ना. Good. So we go back to the source of the thought. We go and who is the source? Who is thinking the thought? I am thinking. The question is, who is this I? For those people who find this approach a little bit difficult, do japa. And japa should be done only. How it should be done? Through the Vaikhari, loudly. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. मन में नहीं होना चाहिए. You should not chant mantra in mind. You should chant mantra only loudly. And the pull, the mantra going from loud chanting to mental chanting, it must happen naturally. It must happen as a result of purification. It must happen as a result of absorption into that mantra pervading our mind, then it pulls us in. But what we do, majority people whom I have met, they think, oh, other will get disturbed, how, it's not right, I don't like, I want to do it secretly in my mind, I don't want to tell my mantra to क्या फालतू की चीज़ें बोलते हैं. But the only way the mantra, even if you are sitting for half an hour chanting in your mind, eventually, you must always, every sitting must begin with loud chanting. Vaikhari. अभी मैं स्वामी जी के साथ आ रहा था, for 4 hours I was chanting the mantra. 4.5 hours. अब मैं एक शब्द नहीं बोला मैं किसी से, पीछे बैठा हुआ था. स्वामी जी बोलते हैं सो गए. अरे राम अपना मंत्र चल रहा है, बोल दिया मेरे को क्या है. नो डिस्टर्बेंस. अपने they are talking. So you find ways. And when you start doing this from Vaikhari to Madhyama, and as you go ahead, Pashyanti Para, we don't have to go to Pashyanti, it takes you straight to Para, if you are conscious. If you go into Pashyanti, what does it mean? It means you are going to sleep. Because there are 4 steps, doesn't mean we have to go through the 4 steps. If you go to the 3rd step, you are going to sleep. If you remain awake, in the second step, which is from loud chanting to mental chanting, from mental chanting as mind loves variety. अब यहाँ पे तुमने उसको दे दिया हरि ओम या ओम नमः शिवाय और only om. It gets bored after some time. Automatically the gap between the two oms will keep expanding. What are you doing? You are doing chanting. You are not trying to expand the gap. You are focused on what? Because we are addicted to action. So we continue chanting consciously. And the gap, as the mind quietens down, settles down, it gets bored. Mind will get bored because क्या है वही repeat हो रहा है. But you are inspired. अरे mind is getting quiet. The gap is increasing. And as it goes, and if you remain conscious without going to sleep, then you don't go into Pashyanti, you go straight to Para. You go to the mind itself, and then the journey to the Sahasrar. This is another way. If this is also very difficult, many people say, Swamiji, which mantra we should chant, what should we do, what should we, Om Namah Shivaya, we never give any mantras. Swamiji also never gives any mantra, he says every word of mine is mantra. Then what do you do? And they get confused. Swamiji, my guru gave me one mantra many years ago, then another guru gave me one mantra, now what do I do? But I love chanting this particular mantra, and when I start with the one I love, then the first Guru mantra comes and interferes. Then the second one comes and says, I want also to be chanted. तो करे तो क्या करे, है ना? हाँ.
Importance of Rudraksha Mala chanting.
है?
Rudraksha Mala.
हाँ.
Is it important for chanting?
No. Be with the thought. Rudraksha Mala is not important. But if it is there for a beginner it is important. You need some support, some way to keep track, because if your finger is not moving, you know you have gone to sleep. So that finger movement of the beads keeps you awake. The synchronization of the mantra with the bead is a conscious synchronization that is going on. Anyway, where were we? They find even the chanting of mantra is difficult. Many people are there because so many mantras are there. Then what do you do? हाँ? नहीं, एक और तरीका है, एक और प्रैक्टिस है जिससे आप साइलेंस को एक्सपैंड कर सकते हो. You understand little bit Hindi? There is another exercise by which you can expand the silence, which is other than mantra, which was mentioned. So it's up to your alertness. Did you catch it? Not mentioned by me, but mentioned by one of you. Not pranayam. Watching the pranas. Watching the shwas. Only observing the shwas. When you observe the breath, in, out, where do you observe the breath? Not in the nabi, not in the chest, not in the throat. Observe it at the nostrils. Very quickly, everything slows down and you go into silence. Because breath is neither good nor bad. Breath is neither given by one guru or another guru. Confusion nahi hai mind ke liye, hai na? So, very, very effective. It's an inert practice, but it is very effective. When you chant mantra, the bhava can come, but when you are observing the breath, there is no bhava required. It's only observation of breath, and it will lead to silence. Suppose that also is difficult. Now what do we do? I'm bringing you to the bare basics. If you can't watch the breath also, no, whenever I breathe, suddenly I go into Ramdev Baba style or Kriya Yoga style. I feel the breath is rotating. Ramdev Baba Kapal Bhati karte rehte hain. All sadhanas, asan, abhi hum baithe hain, you are all sitting now. This is asan. But when you do special asan, what is the difference between this asan and that asan? This is natural, that is, you are using willpower to get into certain positions. Breathing is natural. When you take control of breath, then what is this called? Pranayama. Thinking is natural. Now you are choosing to chant only one mantra in the mind, then it is called chanting the mantras, isn't it? So in सब में willpower, willful effort is required हर चीज के लिए. But we have to put willful effort in that direction, which will lead to silence. Otherwise, it will not. If you start from straight away from the mind, or many people start straight away from meditation, nothing is going to happen. Acha, anyway, come back. If you are not able to watch the breath also, then what do? Someone answered the question among you.
सत्संग सुनते हैं तो भी स्वामी जी बोलते हैं।
सत्संग सुनते हैं, अच्छी बात है, सुनो,
तब भी हो जाता है।
तब भी हो जाता है. पर अगर सत्संग नहीं हो रही फिर क्या करोगे? इवेंचुअली यू हैव टू बी डिपेंडेंट ऑन योर सेल्फ ओनली. अभी स्वामी जी आज तुम आए तो 1 week यू विल लिसन टू स्वामी जी, 6 days, आफ्टर 6 days स्वामी जी विल गो अवे, देन व्हाट यू विल डू?
विचार कहाँ से आते हैं?
नहीं, अभी हम यू आर गोइंग बैक इनटू द माइंड. आई एम टॉकिंग नाउ, वी हैव कम टू ब्रेथ. वी स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम टॉप, वी हैव कम डाउन टू माइंड, देन टू द ब्रेथ. Now breath is also not working for you because you can't focus on breath. Then what do? See, Raman Maharaj said, na pran bandhanat leena manasam. This is that one of the exercises what I am telling you now. Without quoting the verse, now I did. Last one is, you have to perform actions. And what is that in your daily living, whatever you are doing? But what is the manner in which you perform the actions of your daily living? How do you perform? मैं, तू. Or what is that verse of Upadesha? Ishvara. One person. Kritam. ईश्वर अर्पितम नेच्छया कृतम. देर इज नो, अभी तक अपना, जब व्हेन यू डू प्राणायाम इट इज योर विल, व्हेन यू आर डूइंग आसनास इट इज योर विल. दिस विल come and disturb you if you have not done the first step in our life. Now I come to your point. And that first point is, when we are living our daily life, which is 24 hours a day, maybe 2 hours we do satsang with Swamiji every day. The rest of the day we have to face ourselves. We have to be with our actions. Is our performance of actions every moment being surrendered to the Lord, in the sense that He is the prompter of the action, He is the doer of the action, He is the giving the prasad of the action? Is this our attitude when we are moving through life? If it is happening, then no pranayam is required, no japa is required. Very quickly you will bypass everything and come to settle in yourself. See, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. People want to try that. They are very, very inspired. But why it is not clicking to them? Because they are not done the first step. What is that? Yama niyam. What is yama niyam? How you conduct yourself in this world. That is yam. As Swamiji says, what does he say? Remember? I'll tell Swamiji. Swamiji, they don't remember anything. Yama is, you conduct in your life in such a way that you don't disturb anybody by thought, word and deed, and you don't get disturbed by anybody's thought, word and deed. This is yama. When this is done, practiced, as you begin on it, then niyama comes. You don't get disturbed by your own thought, word and deeds. Then that leads to asana, prana, then breath automatically settles down because not too much activity happening. You are not disturbed, no reactions. So till we don't do the first part, till then the last one will not, the next stage will not unfold itself. It will not present itself. What we do is, we know the steps, we want to straight away eat the 8th chapati. I gave this example last week. We want to eat the 8th chapati thinking that then I will not have to eat the 7 chapatis. But tough luck. Kaam karna padega. Hard work. You have to chew all the 7 chapatis. Only then you will reach. See? And now, because she said the first thing, Swamiji, jo aap bata rahe the, wo batao. And this exactly is given in our Bhagavad Gita also. The first chapter is the Vishad Yoga, you know, and the second chapter is about Karmanyeva dhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. See, our thoughts in our mind are always, as scriptures say that, Swamiji says that, always about second point. I'll tell Swamiji. स्वामी मजा आएगा. What are the thoughts coming in your mind? They are only about past or future. There are no thoughts in the present moment. The thoughts erupt in our mind, they are only from the past or the future. Can you do anything about the past? No, because it's already done. I cannot undo those thoughts. Impressions are already there. Can I do something about the future? Yes, because it has not happened yet. Then what is to be done? Perform your actions, but don't focus on the results. This is the first step. Now, I'm taking you the other way. First, I showed you how that from the mind to the breath to the body. Now I'm taking you back to the top. So, if we practice this from the second chapter, Karmanyeva dhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, with this understanding that the thoughts in the mind are only about past and future, I cannot do anything about the past thoughts. Future thoughts can be done, something about them can be done, and what is to be done? Don't think about the future results. Some result will be there, take it as prasad of the, or don't even think of it. Here the prasad is also not used, the word prasad is also not used because the God factor has not been introduced in the second chapter. What happens when the thoughts about the future reduce in your mind? Tell me. What will happen? Anxiety will become less, isn't it? Irritation will become less, expectations will become less. All this leads to anxiety, isn't it? Now, if 50% of thoughts of future are reducing, what is happening to the mind? It is emptying. Yes, it is emptying. What is that equal to? Silence. अभी भी बाकी का तो इतना कचरा भरा हुआ है ना. तो what is happening to the mind? I didn't say what is happening. Mind is expanding. Mind is expanding because less thoughts is equal to expanded mind. This brings you to the third chapter. The third chapter is Arjun. For Arjun, what did he realize? He realized that in that expanded mind, a new understanding dawns. When you become grown up or when you get married, new understanding dawns that I got responsible, I am not a bachelor anymore. New understanding, you fight it for some time, eventually you have to surrender. Same way here also. As the mind expands, you become aware. Arey yaar, action is not important. The attitude behind the action is important. This is the crux of the third chapter. The intention behind the action is important. कि किस भाव से I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And nobody needs to know, only you know. That why did you say something, or why did you not say something, or why you kept quiet, or why you scolded. Mother scolds a child not because she's angry with her, she wants that fellow to be corrected. Otherwise he will go the wrong way. So she shows the anger, but she's not angry inside. She's very clear about it, isn't it? So there is no manipulation. So this student now realizes, he starts refining his intentions behind the actions. His attention is not on the actions, his attention is on the intentions behind the actions. This is 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Now, as intentions purify, sattva is purifying, mind is expanding more and more, less thoughts, less doubts, less confusions, already less anxiety. Now you are coming to live in the present moment. Because intention means right now, what is my intention with which I am speaking? Is it to teach you, or is it to remind myself? This leads to even more expanded mind, a more focused. Remember, purified mind is equal to expanded mind is equal to single pointed mind, all equal. This purified mind leads you to 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Remember? 4th? Bhul gaye? 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the mind has expanded so much that a new learning, a new understanding dawns again. And what is that? All actions and inactions cancel each other. They are happening simultaneously. This vision becomes available to such a student, such a seeker. That activity and inactivity, both is happening at the same time. Right now you are not doing anything, you are sitting in one place, eyes are blinking, stomach is going gur gur gur, khana kab aayega. You are sitting in a train doing nothing, but you cover the distance. So every moment, now see, thought is an activity, no, thought is not an activity. In-breath is an activity, no, what is that? Out-breath is an activity. In-breath is a reaction. But between the two there is no activity. Kumbhak jisko bolte hain. Every moment there is a kumbhak, no activity. So these two, activity and inactivity, they are happening right now also in every part of your being. But we are not available to them. When you come to the 4th chapter, the seeker becomes available to activity and inactivity in toto, that all these are going on continuously. I don't have to be worried about doing some action or not doing some action. This is where we are caught up, no? And when this dawns on the student or the seeker, the mind becomes even freer, and it comes to the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What is 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Karma sannyasa yoga. He takes sannyas from all karma. He's totally disenchanted with everything. And this can happen. It doesn't happen. It can happen in one day. It can happen in 5 minutes. And sudden inward pull comes and you sit in meditation. Yesterday we were walking. She was there, I think. Swamiji went out for a walk. And hardly to the gate. I'm tired. I came back. Sat down. Sat for 1 hour in meditation. Yesterday morning, got up, had breakfast. He had slept, but got up in the morning, had breakfast, and a little bit, thoda ho gaya. Then again, because he's always in those thoughts, again the withdrawal came. Went 2 hours, he didn't even move in one chair. Then I sent one person, go and witness this phenomena. Sitting there in one position for 2 hours, more than 2 hours. Then he came down only for lunch. So this withdrawal comes for us also. One withdrawal is when you go to sleep. That is a withdrawal only. But when naturally withdrawal comes, when you are living correctly in this manner, when you are looking at life in this manner, don't think about third chapter or fourth chapter. You do the second chapter. Always be in the second chapter. Let the rest automatically follow. They must happen. And when there is karma sannyas, the pull comes from within to be in silence. Sixth chapter is what? Dhyana yoga. That is meditation. Now meditation will happen. But what we want to do, we want to jump straight to sixth chapter. When we come to meditation, then what happens? You are in silence. You are in bliss. You are in savikalpa samadhi or nirvikalpa samadhi, whatever. But when you open your eyes, then what happens? Why did I come out? Suddenly you become available to the world, and the world is too much, isn't it? And if we have learned how to not to react. So we will not react. Instead, what will be our approach? How can I have the same silence which I had on the seat of meditation? How can I be that silent even when I am moving around in the world? That is a natural consequence now. How is it possible? This should be our question. But when we come straight to sixth chapter, which is meditation, without doing the previous, one sound, one spoon falls, there is a reaction here. There is a disturbance, there is anger, irritation. But when we have done the previous steps, it does not matter. Now the question, our focus of the mind is, see how the mind is expanding. Now the mind wants, it has accessed the bliss, it has accessed the joy, ananda, meditation. The mind is saying, how can I be continuously in bliss even when my eyes are open, ears are open, I am moving around in the world? Now begins 7th chapter, 8th chapter, 9th chapter, 10th chapter, 11th chapter, 12th chapter. This is where the God principle is brought in. And how Bhagwan is, the Ishvara is the common thread, that is Sutre Manigana Eva, and after that how God is the material cause and efficient cause of the whole world, and that nothing in this world is new, everything is recycling, everything is happening, and there is nothing new. Whatever Arjuna is going to be doing is already done. And what is happening? Because now to expand his mind further, some alamban has to be given, some support has to be given. You can't say, one example is space, it is everywhere. But here Bhagavan says, I am the one. Because what did Arjuna say? Shishyasteham shadhi mamta. He didn't say, I am surrendered to space. He said, I am surrendered to you. And Bhagavan knows who he is in all levels of his manifestation. He knows he is the Absolute, he knows he is the Ishvara, he knows he is the Incarnation, he knows he is the Purusha, he knows he is the friend or brother of Arjuna, he knows he is the husband, he knows he is the charioteer, he knows all the roles, but he never forgets who he is, the Absolute One. We forget. At a drop of a hat we forget who we are. So because Arjuna surrendered to Krishna, Bhagwan, so Bhagwan takes that position and shows him the total picture that in this creation, in this cosmos, nothing is new, everything is already taking place by his will. By his will, not by individual will. Then Arjuna he got it, but remember, Arjuna has not done any sadhana on the battlefield. He is just listening. He's just Shravan, he's doing Shravan. He's not doing any sadhana. And because of his ill preparation, if I can use that word, that shortcoming in his preparation, when the Virat Purush is presented by the Lord to Arjun, he becomes scared. He couldn't handle it. And positively speaking, anyone, even if he's prepared, if that vision comes, you will get scared. See? And then when he gets scared, then he wants to know that now the expansion of the mind is over. Sometimes I am able to focus on you, sometimes not able to focus on you. What is this Prakriti? What is this the Supreme Purusha? Then Bhagavan goes into 13th chapter, 14th chapter. Still Arjun is not able to focus completely. So he says, you are not able to focus because some good thoughts and negative thoughts, the Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamas, the three gunas are there. And each one he keeps communicating to Arjuna so that he understands and he goes beyond them. So when we are listening to satsang, when we are listening to scriptures, we need to go beyond the words. What happens to us? We get stuck in the jokes, we get stuck in the statements, we get stuck in the words. How do you go beyond the words? By being subjective. Subjective approach is required. Everything that Swamiji is saying, he is not talking about a concept. He is not talking about an idea. He is not talking about an imagination called self. He is talking about us. You. Not forget us. Us is a Bahuvachan. He is talking about you. Which you? Not the body, not the breath, not the mind, not the intellect. The conscious one. If you can be that while listening, this is what I told last week. She asked me to repeat, so I am repeating. If you can be that while listening, everything will be over. Then you don't have to go into the further steps of mananam and nididhyasana. There itself it will click. Just like you eat the food and there itself you feel the satisfaction. You see, you open your eyes immediately, without any lag. The name and the form and colors are available to you, isn't it? No delay. The moment I open my eyes, same way. When I am listening to a satsang, when I am listening to scriptures, am I available? Available means not to the words. Let the mind be available to the word. You be available to the conscious principle, because of which the mind is also able to think. Then you see the magic happen. In every satsang, you are in bliss. In every satsang, you are with yourself. और क्या बोलेंगे? मौनम व्याख्यात प्रकटित पर ब्रह्म तत्वम युवानम. This leads to silence. बैठो थोड़ी देर. 2-3 minutes, sit in silence. Wherever you are, don't change anything. And in the 18th chapter, Bhagavan says to Arjun, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham dva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Give up all your duties. Sarva dharman parityajya. All the do's and don'ts, whatever you are thinking that you have to do or not do, let it all go. Mame kam sharanam vraja. Come to surrender. Take refuge in me. Don't take refuge in I have to do the right thing, I don't have to do the wrong thing. I did that wrong. No. Whatever is done, whatever is gone is what has happened has happened. Whatever is happening is also happening. Our attention, as we showed you through the Bhagavad Gita, our attention should be on the divine principle. Mamekam Sharanam Praja. And the assurance that the Lord gives is Ampa Sarva Papebhyo. I'll take away all the sins of yours. What is the sin? The sin of individuality, sin of regrets, sin of expectations, the sin of desire, the sin of being the doer and the enjoyer. All this, Bhagavan says, I will take away all the power. And what will be the result if once I take it away? Moksha yashyami ma shucha. This will lead to liberation. And if you have understood what was told, we don't have to fight the mind, we don't have to fight the body, we don't have to fight the health or the disease, heat or cold. You have to transcend it. When we transcend the opposites, from there, the opposites, the dvandva, that is the world, it's incapable of affecting us, incapable of influencing us. Shanti, Hari Om, Shri